And a special shout out this morning to Chris Trower. I'm thinking about you this morning, Chris and his wife, Crystal. Good friends, been on my show, and this one's for you, Chris. So, have you ever heard the expression, burn the ships? King and Country, great relatively new contemporary Christian band, has a song out called Burn the Ships, and it was written after one of the singer's wives made a decision to flush her pills. Yeah, there was an addiction to pills, and so this song was inspired by her husband as she made that decision to burn the ship of prescription drugs in her life. Well, it's interesting, that expression. I wanted to look it up because I love the song. I love the video. And I really wanted to look into the reason it was called Burn the Ships. There's a historical reference to that. In 1519, Captain Hernan Cortez, that was Cortez, landed in Veracruz to begin his great conquest. Upon arriving, he gave the order to his men to burn the ships. So this writer called Travis Robertson said something kind of funny. He says, as I imagine it, someone then laughed and Cortez promptly thrust his sword into the man's chest, after which the rest proceeded to get hammered on rum by the glow of the blaze. Almost like a bloodier version of the Pirates of the Caribbean, with Cortez played by Johnny Depp. Well, here's the real lesson there. Retreat is easy when you have the option. So I think we are entering into a new world, are we not? We're entering into a new world as we survive the loss of life and the loss of livelihood during the coronavirus, the worldwide pandemic that has gripped us with fear. Continuing on in the series of Fear Nots in the Bible, today we're going further into Joshua, a fascinating story with a great backstory. And the title of the message today is Fear Not, Burn the Ships. So let's go to Joshua 8:1 for the next fear not in the scriptures. It sounds relatively familiar, but the backstory is very unique. In the New American Standard Version this morning, Joshua 8:1. Now the Lord said to Joshua, do not fear or be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you and arise. Go up to Ai. See, I have given it into your hand, the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. All right, if you're just tuning in, this is Sandra Leslie White. We are talking about Joshua and all of his conquests of the promised land, and the title of the message, Fear Not, Burn the Ships. Well, the backstory on this is what's probably the most important, at least for the message today. We've heard of the sin of Achan. If you haven't, Israel is defeated initially at Ai in chapter 7. And it starts out with chapter 7, verse 1 says this, but the sons of Israel acted unfaithfully in regard to the things under the ban for Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, from the tribe of Judah, took some of the things under the ban. Therefore the anger of the Lord burned against the sons of Israel. All right, as we go on, we realize that Achan kept some of the things under the ban in this conquest of Ai, and what happened was that they did not defeat Ai at this point, and so there was what we call sin in the camp. So verse 16 of chapter 7 says this, so Joshua arose early in the morning and brought Israel near by the tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken, and he brought the family of Judah near, and he took the family of the Zerites, and he brought the family of the Zerites near man by man, and Zabdi was taken. He brought his household near by man, and Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, from the tribe of Judah, was taken. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, I implore you, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and give praise to him, and tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me." So Achan answered Joshua and said, "Truly I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I did. When I saw among the spoil a beautiful mantle from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold, 50 shekels in weight, then I coveted them and took them. And behold, they are concealed in the earth inside my tent, with the silver underneath it." So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and behold, it was concealed in his tent with the silver underneath it. They took them from inside the tent and brought them to Joshua and to all the sons of Israel. They poured them out before the Lord. Then Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, the silver, the mantle, the bar of gold, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, his donkeys, his sheep, his tent, and all that belonged to him, and they brought them up to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, "Why have you troubled us? The Lord will trouble you this day." And all Israel stoned them with stones, and they burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. Oh my goodness. And they raised over them a great heap of stones that stands to this day, and the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger. Therefore the name of that place has been called the Valley of Achor to this day. Well, that is what precedes the Lord then in verse 8, in chapter 8, verse 1, saying to Joshua, "Do not fear or be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you." We'll talk about that tomorrow. "All the people of war with you, and arise, go up to Ai. See, I've given it into your hand, the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land." All right, so what about this backstory? What about this? I mean, wow. Burn the Ships is the name of the show today. Fear not, burn the ships. Well, there was sin in the camp, but it was in this amazing man who was from the tribe of Judah. You know, that's the heart of the God, Judah. And he is concealed. He's taken some of the spoil from the previous battle and he has hidden it because he thought, well, we were not supposed to take this, but my gosh, it was so beautiful and wonderful. I mean, surely I can get away with that. And so he takes it and he hides it. And it is revealed to Joshua and also then to the Lord, of course, knew it. And there was this tremendous outpouring of wrath from the Lord through Joshua. I mean, about that whole family and all their animals and all they possessed and all they were stoned and then burned. Talk about burn the ship. Burn that family, that whole family, that farm, their descendants, everything of Achan was burned, stoned and burned. So why? My gosh, why? I mean, there is very serious consequences for the people who are within the tribe of Judah, certainly, and within the camp of Joshua, trying to conquer and conquest the land without such action. This isn't something that is just the heart of God to say, "I'll just destroy them all." It really isn't. It's not like him to take the entire village and all the children and the women and the animal, all of them. But it was destroyed. The ships were burned. And so why, again, call the message, burn the ships? Well, there's always something, isn't there? As we are moving into a new level in the ministry of Jesus on the earth today. And I do think it's a new world. I've said that last week. I think there's a new way of doing things happening now. We're being prepared for that. And so I think that for us to be able to take hold of what God has for us, during this pandemic, during this time at home, during this time, I've talked about some of those things that are kind of rearing back up into my life, some of those things that I have been delivered from, some of those things that were considered under the ban in my own life. And, it just really moved me when I revisited this video by King and Country, Burn the Ships, over the weekend. And I was very moved, not only for someone very dear to me, but also for myself, to really look at my life, to really look at what is it that needs to just burn. What is it that is going to be burned off of me, that dross, so that I can come out of this pandemic refined as gold, so I can be useful in the new world order in a way that perhaps I haven't been used before. So it is time to burn the ships. It is time to look at our lives and to allow the Holy Spirit to really dig deep, not into the people around us so much, which is what I was doing over the weekend, but it really, he turned the tables on to me and said, what ships do you need to burn, Sandra, in your life? And he revealed those to me. I took action on at least one of those areas last night and felt so free. I mean, I think when he reveals things to us, and I don't know what your secrets are. You know, in this video, I'll post it by King and Country called Burn the Ships. You know, they talk about in the very beginning, this ship that this man was on that was a ship of lies. It was a ship of secrets and the ship of lies, and his own little ship, in his own little room, his own little space. And we've got a lot of that time right now, especially if you live alone. Even if you don't, you're finding those secrets within you as your little friends, aren't you? I mean, those are where you're going to retreat. Well, I think that it is so important that we do not allow the sin in the camp, in your own camp, your camp, not somebody else's. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me, to hold us back from this new thing that God is starting in the earth. I'm going to close with a verse out of Hebrews 12, 1-3. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has now sat down at the right hand of God. For consider him who had endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you may not grow weary and lose heart. All right, so the sin that so easily entangles us, what is it? Is your secret in your ship? Is it addiction to food? Is that your real comfort? Is your addiction porn? Is that your comfort? Is your addiction alcohol? Is it drugs? What is it that is enslaving you on this secret ship that's just drifting out there in the port? May I suggest that you allow the Holy Spirit to examine you and bring those secrets, those lies, the sin that so easily entangles you and sometimes to the point of paralyzing you. Allow them to come to the surface and get off that ship, jump ship, and set the flame, set it on fire, let it burn so that there is no way of going back, so that fear cannot grip you into your future. I am extremely clear on there's a new thing started in the earth, and we are gripped with fear, but he wants us to overcome it. And this man says at the end, Travis Robertson, we postpone action until we no longer feel fear. Either that or our actions are shallow attempts, never designed to succeed. In reality, we must learn to act decisively in spite of our fear. So fear not, burn the ships. God bless you today.